Hi, my name is Halfdan Lynge, and I'm a senior lecturer at the Wits School of Governance. Today I'll be talking about data and why I believe it's time we start treating private data as a public good. COVID-19 has highlighted the public value of data. Internet search histories have been used to detect unknown outbreaks, and in many countries, governments are using cell phone location data to track population movements and contain the spread of the virus. The pandemic has also reminded us that data ownership is heavily skewed in favor of the private sector. Capturing, organizing, and analyzing data is a multi-trillion-dollar business. And some of the most valuable data that exist, private, often high-frequency and geolocated data, belong to banks, mobile network operators, and tech giants like Facebook, Amazon, and Google. In economic terms, data are like roads, parks, and clean air. First, data have high upfront costs and low marginal costs. It's expensive to set up a data collection system, but once it's in place, it's relatively cheap to collect data. Second, data are non-rivalrous. They can be provided to additional users at little or even zero cost, and they're not depleted as more people use them. This differs from other resources like oil and gas, where the use of one person prevents the use of the same oil and gas by another. Finally, data have externalities. The use of data by one person affects the costs and benefits of others. We tend to focus on the negative externalities of data, as when private firms harvest our personal data and sell them to third parties without our knowledge or consent. The Facebook Cambridge Analytica data scandal is a case in point. We tend to forget that data also have positive externalities. When different data sets are combined, new knowledge is produced and new value is created. From a public policy perspective, this suggests we should treat data the same way we treat roads, parks, and clean air, as public goods. To some extent, we already do that. Most academic research is government funded, and national statistical services like StatsSA collect and publish official socioeconomic and demographic data. However, the largest and fastest growing repositories of data are held by private firms. This gives them market advantages and allows them to expand beyond their core business. Google, through its Waymo subsidiary, is the market leader for autonomous vehicles, not because they know how to build cars, but because they have access to more location data than anyone else. In the same way, mobile network operators like MTN are making billions on banking and insurance, drawing on their deep knowledge about mobile phone users. The concentration of data in the hands of private companies slows down innovation and growth. When only a few dozen companies have access to the most valuable data, only a few dozen companies can actually contribute to inventing new things. A recent report by the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development suggests that if data were more widely shared, many countries could add between 1 and 2.5% of GDP. Ironically, the technology and infrastructure upon which many of these companies base their success was developed with taxpayers' money. Google's algorithms were developed with funding from the US National Science Foundation. The internet, touchscreen displays, and GPS came out of the US Department of Defense. It seems only fair that the data that these companies collect are made accessible to all of us. Some companies are already moving in the right direction. Recently, Microsoft launched an open data campaign and announced plans to create 20 data sharing groups by 2022. Similar steps have been taken by Spanish bank BBVA and British pharmaceutical company GlaxoSmithKline. However, they are the exception rather than the rule. Most companies still treat data as private property. So what needs to be done? Well, first, we must acknowledge that market forces alone will not solve the problem. Too much data are already concentrated in the hands of the private sector, and government intervention is needed if we are to benefit collectively from the data revolution. In concrete terms, this means governments must adopt comprehensive policies that go beyond the protection of private information and promotes equal access to data. No one should be granted exclusive rights to public sector data. A recent report from the Bennett Institute of Public Policy at Cambridge University even suggests private companies should be obliged to make their data accessible to third parties and ensure interoperability between platforms. The reduced incentive to invest in the data economy could be offset by issuing time-restricted licenses similar to patents. Privacy concerns will also have to be addressed in more innovative ways. Restricting access and aggregating data is not the solution. Computation and encryption-based alternatives should be adopted. National statistical services could also play a role in this, which means their mandate should be expanded. In addition to their core functions, they could even serve as custodians of private data collected by others. COVID-19 has made it evident that most governments are behind the curve. Their policies are inadequate, and they don't have the mechanisms in place to systematically incorporate data in their policymaking processes. While the private sector has generally responded well to the pandemic by sharing data and offering analytical capacity, it is unsustainable that our collective interests are left at the mercy of profit-driven firms. It's time policymakers start to act.